Dr. Pepos here, back with another class. Now let's look at a question on organic chemistry. So this is something that's examinable, and you automatically have to know this if you don't do in chemistry. So the compound represented below is. So the compound represented below is. So we are trying to look at what compound this is. That's the question. Now, the first thing that you can actually do is that you can count the number of carbon atoms. So the number of carbon atoms, of course, are 2. That means the prefix will be if. The prefix will be if. That's the thing. So if you have 1 carbon atom, it's meth. 2 carbon atoms, it's if. 3 carbon atoms, prop. 4 but. 5 pent. 6 just like that, hex. 7 hept. 8 oct. 9 non, and 10 dec. So this is actually if. Now from the options we can actually see that all these guys are starting with if. That's number 1. Now there's ethene, there's ethene, there's ethane, and there's ethanol. Ethene is an alkene. Ethene is also an alkene, but the one with a Y. Then ethane is a methane. It's an alkane rather. Then ethanol, of course, is an alcohol. Now, how can you know the name of this compound? The first thing that you can actually do is that you can count the number of carbon atoms that are there. Number 1. Number 2, you can count the number of hydrogen atoms that are there. So how many hydrogen atoms are there? So we have 4 hydrogen atoms. So you can see that the carbon on the left is actually reacting with 2 hydrogen atoms. Then the carbon on the right is reacting with 2 hydrogen atoms. That means we have 4 hydrogen atoms. Now, one thing that you should know about a homologous series is that it has a general formula and it has got a functional group. A general formula and it has a functional group. Now, let's remove some other things. Let's remove D. So it's ethanol. Ethanol is out because this is actually a hydrocarbon. As you can see, this has got carbon and hydrogen only. That means it's a hydrocarbon. So D is automatically out. Now we see that it's C2H4. C2H4. So what do you think? To which homologous series do you think this belongs to? It belongs to alkenes because they're the ones that have got a general formula of CnH2n. CnH2n. So for this guy, we can actually see that this is ethene, which is A. That's the thing. Now, as you can see, carbon is actually sharing 2 atoms, 2 electrons rather. Then this other carbon is also sharing 2 electrons. That means these guys have got a double bond. These have got a double bond. So that's definitely ethene, which is A. Then what is the name of the compound below? So the name of the compound below, so we have CH3, COO, CH2, CH3. Now, how are you able to identify the name of the compound? That's the first thing you can ask yourself. So you can first of all count the number of carbon atoms that are there. You can first of all count the number of carbon atoms that are there. Now, do you think this is an alcohol, or do you think this is an acid? Now, look at the functional group that's there. It's COO. COO, that's the functional group. So it simply shows you that this is an ester. This is an ester. That's what you're supposed to know about this guy. So we definitely know that this is formed when an alcohol reacts with an acid. when an alcohol reacts with an acid. So what will be the name of this guy? So you look at the left, how many carbon atoms are there, and you also look at the right, how many carbon atoms are there. So the total number of carbon atoms are 4. As you can see, there are 4 carbon atoms. Now if you're naming this, you look at the functional group, which is COO. That's the first carbon. Then to the left there's another carbon. Then if you go to the right, we have 2 carbon atoms as well. That means this was formed between ethanol and ethanoic acid. This was formed between ethanol and ethanoic acid. So meaning if we are actually getting the name of this guy, it would be ethyl ethanoate. That would be the name of this compound, ethyl ethanoate. Now for someone who has not done organic chemistry, it might be very difficult for one to understand why the answer is ethyl ethanoate. But if you look at the beginning of esters, I think the beginning of organic chemistry, there should be a general formula for these esters. That's the thing. So I think if you can check, I did some lessons on organic chemistry on my page. I think you should check. Should have been early this year. I actually did an introduction to organic chemistry. You can actually go through that. If not, if you're still behind, you can actually tell me, so that we can see how best we can go about this. So like I said, or I keep on saying, if you're still behind with certain topics, you can actually notify me. Then I'll set up some personal classes so that we can review any challenges that you're actually having. Then for those who are writing under GC, once GC registrations begin, I'll actually notify you, and I would let you know about the centers that you can enter from and the centers that you can avoid in Lusaka and other parts of the country. So you can just tell me which part of the country you reside, and we'll recommend certain schools that you can actually enter from. Then as for the classes are ongoing. We actually began last week. So we've actually begun everything from grade 10 work, so that at least we can do the foundational concepts first. Then grade 10 and 11s, we're just doing normal topics. And then for the grade 12s, we're actually doing past paper revisions. So GC topics, grade 10 and 11 topics. Then for grade 12s, we are going through past papers. So you can actually inbox my page, or you can actually send me a direct message on WhatsApp. Then I'll have you registered for the classes. So you can check the number on my page, or you can just use my other line, which is 0973 32 89 97. 0973 32 89 97. 0973 32 89 97. Then we shall see how we can move. So Dr. Pepos here, and I'm actually signing out.